Happy Monday, everyone. So happy to be here and be able to talk to you guys and have this conversation with you about being sold on yourself. So, before I get into the training, if you're watching the replay or if you're here with me live, welcome. If you're here live, if you comment and you say hi, whatever comment you make, as long as it's respectable and respects the group's rules, you'll be entered to win a free discovery call with me. So we will announce the winner tomorrow. If you can go ahead and just just enter a comment and you'll be entered to win. So with that being said, we're going to go into this training and it's about how to be sold on yourself. It's a conversation I've had with my clients or they're like, Patty, I'm not seeing the results I want in this launch, in this program, this, free training. And the question I bring to them to the table is, okay, but I'm curious to know, I want to know how locked in, how sure do you feel about this offer, this program, whatever it is that they're selling? And there'll be a moment of pause. I'm not looking to get an answer from them right away. I really, by framing the question in that way, how sold are you on this specific product, service, program you are in? I want them to take the time to really think and analyze and reflect on what they're feeling and go deep. Because it's really what's bringing it up is that you're not seeing what you want. But a lot of it, we have to kind of take time and really dive deep into it and see what it is. And a lot of the times, what comes out or what comes up, by me working with them and helping them through sitting with that feeling, going through that process, is I don't feel convinced. And it's like, okay, what's going on? And once they understand, okay, I'm not feeling 100% confident in this offer, we'll ask why. What do you feel is missing, right? It's a lot of helping you or helping, your ideal client, in this case, my clients, understand what's keeping them and shrinking them, or help or making them feel not 100% or stand 100% behind their offer. And sometimes it could feel like, oh, I feel imposter syndrome. I don't feel someone else is doing something similar and they have more time, right? And feeling like an insecurity, they don't feel adequate. Different emotions, different things can come up depending on the client. So it's doing the work of really getting yourself into, right? So if that wasn't a thing, right? That's the next question. If that wasn't a feeling, would you still feel this way? Do you still want to continue going forward with this offer? And a lot of the times it's yes, I do. It's just I just want to get over that. Perfect. We move on. If they come back saying, no, I really don't feel, then that's another conversation and we'll address it and we'll move forward. We'll decide then what we need to do with that offer. But if they're feeling like, no, it's just I'm feeling nervous. Or let's say in my case, right? Let's say I have an offer for a group coaching, and I really feel that that is the container I want, but I'm feeling doubts creeping in. I, for myself, would know, right? It has to do with me just looking around, and it's just self doubt. So I know to dismiss that, do the work because I've been doing the work for a while. So it's easy for me to overcome that. I know where that's stemming from. But my with the clients that I'm working with, some of the times they don't know, and it's helping them figure that out. But once they know, we know when that's coming up and we know the work that needs to do. And basically, that's what we're doing in a coaching container, figuring out what are your patterns, what's coming up. And in this case, is be sold on yourself and having that self trust. So, working at that muscle, just like you would if you're going to the gym. So, we look at the offer and we're like, okay, nothing of the offer, needs to change. It's just you working around it and really sitting with those feelings and really helping you grow into you being okay with those feelings that you're feeling. A lot of the times is, well, maybe it's the same thing and, I'm seeing this variation, or I'm not sure if I'll be able to hold 30 plus people in this program. I'm not sure if I'll be able to hold X amount of money that's going to come in, right? So you can start seeing that it's really not the offer in itself that is creating that lack of trust. It's really the things that that's going to bring, right? Not work, but just it feels heavy for them. 30 humans. How am I going to manage that, right? Am I really going to manage that? Well, obviously we've done the pre-work for them to be able to have the containers ready to go, but it still feels heavy. And that's normal. If you've never had a container with 30 humans, even if you have the structures and everything going, you are going to feel a pressure. You are going to feel that what's that feeling? It's gonna feel like pressure, like the what ifs are gonna come up. But once you've done it, you're like, okay, I've done this before, right? There's some reference. And even if you've done it before, other things come up. And that's something else that we get to address, right? What if can I do it again? Can it happen again? Can I feel the spots, right? And again, as you can see, it's the same it's the same feeling, it's the same emotion. It's that deep root feeling of self-trust. So it's work that gets to be done all the time, right? It gets, your journaling prompts, right? Why am I the best person for this? Why is it that what am I going to deliver? What's the process here that I'm going to facilitate for my people? And that's something that you have to be doing constantly, not just at every launch, but every day. Why you're showing up to your communities, why you're the best person, why is it that this offer is just the best of the best, and how is this going to transform the lives of those people that are coming in to work with you if they apply and they do the work. Because at the end of the day, if someone has, let's say, a bad experience, really, you can't take 100% of that towards you because it's a container, right? Let's say if you have an offer and it's a container, or you're in a one-on-one coaching container, it requires both of you to come to work, me as the coach, you as the coachee. So you have to understand that if you're showing up 100% and you're giving your all, you still need the other human on the other side to be able to come in and do the work. So understanding that your job is to be sold on yourself, and that there's another human on the other side that needs to also be empowered to come up and show up for themselves, can alleviate some of the pressure. You're there to mirror, to facilitate, and help them achieve their goals. So understanding that you also have to, go do the self work, and being 100% convinced, and acknowledging your strengths, where you're good at, and what you bring to the table, and be able to stand 100% behind that, and then be able to bring that over when you are putting out your products and your services. But if you're not, then it's going to be very hard for you to transmit that when you're showing up, when you're doing your freebies, when you're having sales calls. It's going to be very hard for you to overcome the objections. Well, it's too expensive. Oh, then let me know in the comments below if this ever happens to you. But let's say an objection comes where they say you're too expensive. You could start doubting, right? Oh man, am I really that expensive? That can come up if you're not 100% sold on your ability, on your experience, on your expertise, on what this program is going to facilitate for that ideal client. Because if you are sold on yourself by what I mentioned, then you'll be able to take in what they're saying, right? They're giving you their objection, which is you're too expensive. But what does that really mean, right? Does that mean that why does she think it's expensive? Is it because they've never invested in that way? Is it she's fearful of making this investment? What has happened before? Getting really curious as to why, you know, by you being really convinced, really sold on yourself, is going to allow you to go into, okay, let me get curious and see why, and focus more on your ideal client. Then, versus you not being sold on yourself, you get the objection, you're too expensive. You stop listening to your ideal client's objections, and you start focusing on yourself, and you start doubting, am I really that expensive? I wonder if this is true. I'm not sure. So do you see how that can really be a shift just by being sold on yourself? How that can turn around the dynamic and the conversation on a sales call, or even on a free live training. Even right here, if something were to come to a question, I would want to get curious, because I'm 100% sold on myself that if we work together, you are going to get a transformation, not just because of my experience in business, in life, my education, but because I truly know that I can sit with you really look at what's going on and walk you through that to achieve that end result, right? If you tell me I'm expensive, I'm not really concerned about pricing. I really want to understand why that idea and go really deep with you and get feedback. Obviously, I mean, I'm gonna get not feedback, but I'm gonna get a lot of data, like a lot of information, just by going deep with you and understanding you as a human and why you're thinking that way, which is gonna help me tremendously when we work together because I'm understanding the way you're thinking, and that gives me insight into a lot of different things. So it's really, really getting curious with what your ideal client is feeling. But in order for you to have that space and to be able to do that, you need to be that you have that ability, right? If you're saying you can hold space and support someone, can you really hold space and really give yourself your own space, right? To grow, to be able to nourish, and to be able to support your clients at this level, and then say, okay, I'm a good coach because I can do X, Y, and C, right? And then when you hop on the calls, it's the same thing. I understand that this is can be a difficult investment, but this is what after you have hold space and you've listened to what they're saying, right? If you're sold on yourself, you're gonna go into this very an objection is not going to stop you. It's going to empower you to move forward with your ideal client. Basically, in simple terms, that's what being sold on yourself does. How do we do that? By always mirroring to ourselves what are our strengths, what we're here to do, why are we the perfect fit for our ideal clients, right? That would mean listing the experiences, that would be listing or having testimonials around your desk or your phone, or have like a little keepsake box that you can look at and really re-listen to the things you've been able to achieve and why that puts you as the perfect person or the perfect fit for this ideal transformation. So obviously it's going to take work, and with time, it's not going to be something that's going to feel it's going to come automatically to you because you're already sold on yourself, but it's work you have to do. If you don't do this work, then to a certain point, it's going to become something that's going to stop your growth, because we constantly need to be finding the evidence that shows that we are if we're going after something, gives us that evidence. Just how when you have a belief or an idea that you can't do something, obviously your brain's going to look for the evidence of why no. So we have to do the same thing if we're trying to build this belief, this um be sold on yourself. You have to look at the evidence, right? So just to do this exercise with you again, if I want to be sold on myself, and let's say I say I'm a business coach and I can support you in achieving your results, right? And growing and scaling your business. I had to sit with the fact that why did I feel 100% behind it? First of all, because of my experience as an accountant and tax professional, right? Because I've been helping clients grow their business financially for 17 to 18 years, corporate wise and also small business. Then I have my education that obviously helps how and it informs the way I do business and the way I see business. Third, I work with business owners, so that's giving me a lot of experience as to how they think and how they process stuff in business. And then my own experience, right? I've scaled the business. I'm a mom. I understand the dynamics of balancing work-life balance. I'm a wife, so I understand how you have to break yourself up in different things. So all of that, compiled and wrapped into a box is my evidence that I am just such an amazing coach with so much, like, my experience is my asset, my knowledge is my asset, and I can meet where my ideal client where they're at and bring them forward. Because not only have I done it, I've done it myself. I've helped clients for many years and all my experience and education. That's my evidence. Now, an ideal client might not have the experience in work wise, right? But they have other evidence. Maybe they've gone through difficult times in business, including myself. I've gone through difficult times in business, so obviously I can help them. So, do you see what I'm saying? You have to look at your own evidence and really write it down and really remind yourself of why it is that you are the best person. When you can do that over and over and over again, you're bound to communicate that, you're bound to embody that, like show up in that manner, and come to, this discovery calls, the coaching sessions with such a different approach because you're so sold on yourself. So that's what I wanted to share with you guys today. I'm so happy that you guys come here and join me and listen to these conversations. I hope you can take some learning lessons from this, and I look forward to seeing you next week. Please have a great week and all your different activities, and I'll be seeing you again next week. Bye.